Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming Spoilercast. We got yet another one for you today. Last one was on Death Stranding 2, and now we will be talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, you might think there may not be a lot to spoil about this game, but two things. One, there is actually a good amount to spoil, and also, I like these spoilercasts as just like general game discussions as well to fully get our thoughts about these games, kind of a nice little bow tie at the end of them. I'm excited to talk to two people about this game, and that's one, Bench,
Oh, banana.
and two, Moon.
Well, now I can't say because that's the only other line to say from this game.
Just say "oh banana." It's the same. If you guys want to find us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every other podcast platform. Under the roof, we're going to be on it. Also, check us out on Twitter and Blue Sky at A Slice of Gaming, and give us likes, reviews, all that kind of good stuff. It helps us out a ton. I think we're ready to get into it. I wanted to start just quick summary, your opinions on the game as a whole, and the score. Actually, before we even get into that, do you guys have any history with the Donkey Kong IP? Like any of the games specifically with Donkey Kong?
Smash and Mario Kart.
Yeah, Smash and Mario Kart, and basically any party game that he appears in.
Oh yeah, because he's in like all the Mario parties. I think, yeah, I guess I have the most then because I've played through all the country games, and I really enjoy them. Not to the same extent as other 2D platforms. I really love like Tropical Freeze and whatnot. But I guess you can talk about like how you guys felt about like when this game was first revealed, and then just like overall personal opinions on the game. Let's start with you, Bench.
I mean, I've always been a 3D platformer fan, but not the biggest 3D platformer fan. Like, it'll never win over something with like a story or whatever. So going into Donkey Kong, like first reveal, I was expecting it to be good because you could immediately tell it was that team. But I didn't have like, this is gonna wow me and I'm gonna adore this game kind of expectations.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Moon?
I guess I forget to mention that I did try to get into Tropical Freeze, and I just never did. Like, I did buy it on Wii U, played like maybe an hour, never got back to it. Rebought it on Switch and said, "Okay, I'm gonna get to it." Never got to it.
Yeah, you
And
bought it on
then
Wii U.
yeah. And it's still sitting on my shelf there as part. Actually, did I ever turn it back in? I don't remember. I have to go look through my Switch collection. And then yeah, when this game was revealed, I'm just like, okay, yeah, it looks like, what do you expect for a 3D Donkey Kong game? And then it wasn't until the specific direct, that I'm like, oh, okay, this actually looks much better. Like from we talked about this on the podcast where it looked like your standard, like, okay, yeah, decent Mario Odyssey team making a Donkey Kong game of, okay, bananas are replacing the lunar moons, and it's just these open zones of go collect all the bananas, and bog standard Mario Odyssey stuff. And then you're like, oh, okay, you get these transformations, you get all this other stuff, and you're like, oh, there's a story that clearly Odyssey didn't have, and you're like, okay, this is actually a lot more going on here. And that's when all the excitement finally kicked in and I actually took some interest to it. So yeah, that's when Bonanza actually like took a hold on me. So where was I going with this?
Yeah, but they're just like pre-release expectations. I guess I'll go. I kind of went into it. People will remember on the podcast if we listened that far back. But when this game was first being kind of rumored, I was like, no, I don't want this. I don't want the Odyssey team to be working on Donkey Kong. Like, they got to go back to 3D Mario. I've been waiting for too long, blah, blah, blah. And then it was revealed, and I'm like, okay, you know what? There was a lot of copium, Bench, of us going like, it's not the Odyssey team. Yeah, it's just someone else. But then, like, eventually it was revealed the month of, and it's like, yeah, you look back, it's like, yeah, it was pretty obvious, honestly. But I was kind of the same, where I was like, yeah, okay, I'm kind of down for this 3D Donkey Kong game, but that direct, sold me on it more than I was already sold, and I was already sold. I'm just a mark for these type of games. And after the direct, I was like, okay, I'm so into this. I think this is going to be a banger. And it came out, and we'll talk about it right now. But it's like, I think it surpassed my expectations, which were high, but like even higher than I thought it would be. I think they genuinely nailed this game. I feel like everything about it to me just exemplifies as a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. This is a game I want to see other games in the genre take over from and like look at it. It's like, okay, we can take these ideas, build upon them. That's always the exciting thing whenever a masterpiece comes out is what are future game developers going to take from this and how are they going to build upon it? I think that's how I feel about a masterpiece is this is a game to take stuff from. And I think Bananza is that for me personally of like, yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. This is just a full enjoyable ride from start to finish. I do have flaws and we'll get into them, but for the most part, they were not enough to fully detract from my personal standpoint that this game is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd land around a 9.5, sniffing a 10, but I do think some of those flaws might be just a tiny bit bigger for me, but it's just near masterpiece. Going in, even though like I don't like I like 3D platformers, like I said, but I never truly love them. But the ones that I do love are the lot smaller scope levels. Like the focus, there's a lot of focus, and you're
3D
getting
world.
new 3D world, Astrobot. You're getting a new experience every couple of minutes through a level, and it's never these Odyssey or through Bananza kind of things. And my expectations were blown out of the water. The slight narrative connection through Pauline and Donkey Kong made a huge impact, I think, for me, kind of just keeping me along, on top of just it being so much fun to explore and destroy, the movement being great. Like, a teaser for later, but me and Wolf both did 100% this game, and I don't 100% games. It goes to show how much I truly did love Bananza.
What about you, Min?
I think it's pretty stated pretty often, like how much I'm not like the platformer or Nintendo or anything, and I definitely did enjoy my time with it, and it was definite. When you're beelining the game for the most part, you are getting constant. You're not on one thing too long, and that I think it does well. That you're not like you can't go off and do all these other collectible things, and I guess that is kind of like a strong point and a weak point to the game where the strong point is if you do just want to beeline it, you can do that and you get your enjoyable 10 to 20 hours of the game. And you're just constantly going from one layer to the next. And there is like almost no side missions. Your only side mission is just go find all the collectibles, which if you enjoy doing that, you can just go do that for hundreds of hours, collecting every little fossil and extra banana.
Yeah, about 50 hours, give or
Yeah.
take.
So, but that's also like if it would be cool to have like actual side quests of some kind, but that's just not this kind of game. So it is both a positive and a negative in that regard. But for me, for someone who just did beeline it and just ran through each level, I just enjoyed my time with it because I just got to experience what every single idea that they had that the developers came up with, and I just enjoyed their time with it. Like here's our level design, here's our every challenge that we came up with, and we just threw it all at you, and I experienced it all, and I never missed anything. And that's always the thing with open world games is because they throw your main quest and then there's side stuff, and if you don't do it all, you miss out on maybe some cool things. Like it's bad to compare like maybe to like a Witcher 3, for example, where it's known for its side content. So if you don't do everything, you're going to miss out on some cool stuff. But in something like Bananza, all the stuff is in the main path. It's just you're just not collecting everything. So the only thing you're missing out on, so slight spoiler, but this is a spoiler cast, is just the end credit stuff, the post game stuff, because you only get that by collecting everything. So I reward them for that, or I applaud them for that. That for someone like me who doesn't 100% a lot of stuff, especially when it is a grindy task. Now, which is funny, I say that, but because I did do 100% a game like Astrobot, because that wasn't as much of a grind fest. That was more like challenge based more than anything, which feels different for someone like me. So I didn't mind doing that as much. Whereas I have no interest in just smashing through an entire level and just finding every banana and fossil.
Oh yeah, because I had to look some stuff. Well, not look stuff up, but like I had to buy like those maps at the shop and whatnot. By the end, it gets to the point where like even if you scour the level fully, it's like you're gonna miss stuff like as per usual.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying about like 100%ing something like Astrobot makes more sense because it's just you're not exactly exploring the levels to the same extent in something like an Astrobot or a 3D world. You're kind of just like, it's just skillful challenges. It's like, how good are you at platforming to get this bot or this green star?
Yeah.
But yeah, would you give a score for it?
I'm probably just leaning on maybe like an 8.5.
Okay. Let's get into it. I want to talk about gameplay first, but what did you guys? So the whole kind of thesis for this game is its destruction. Red faction guerrilla, like literal guerrilla, as a lot of people were calling it. Are you guys into this destruction loop? There was kind of this worrying aspect of, will it get old? Did that ever affect your enjoyment of the game?
I mean, it's always fun. I don't think it's never not fun, but I think there was like, even in the early hours, the levels just don't have a whole lot of complexity. But as you get to the freezer and forest layer, the game kind of takes a leap forward, and it just elevates it, and it just keeps getting elevated throughout.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it ever got old, but you got like used to it, I guess is like maybe the way to say to it, where it doesn't have that special feeling anymore, but you're not tired of it to the point where it just becomes like, this is what I can do, and I know what I can and can't do, and it just becomes like your tool set, and you become like this master of, this is what I'm capable of. So it's less, it lost its like its freshness feeling, but like I said, it didn't go bad.
Yeah, it was more of a method of traversal rather than like kind of the underlying game mechanic by the end, which I really appreciated. I think one thing that really helps it is just every time you smash enough, a big like pocket of gold comes out, and then there's also treasure chests and like fossils sometimes you'll grab. And it's like that kind of like progression loop really helped keep the constant smashing feel fresh for me, even like near the end of the game. So I wouldn't say it ever got old, but there were definitely points where like I kind of was like, you know what? I'm gonna avoid smashing through the rock. I'm just gonna try to platform normally instead. Which I think comes to the game's credit. One thing that I really appreciate about it is that it's so free flowing in nature that it allows you to kind of play whatever the way you want. I mean, I think the way we all ran through this game kind of is a testament to how it's designed. Of like Moon, you like kind of beelined, you went through the plot. Bench, I know you were talking about, you 100%ed every layer as you were going through them.
Yep.
And me, I kind of did like the in-betweener where I was exploring and like messing around, but I didn't try to scour the entire place for 100% until when I was at the end of the game. And it's like, okay, let me get the last few bananas. And the fact that each one of us all enjoyed our experience is just a testament to how the game is designed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say something, man?
I was gonna say, yeah, I did wander a little bit here and there, but only if I spam that sensor like every 2 seconds.
Oh, man. That thing is so good.
I did grab every fossil and banana if it was just like within range. Like I would go off the path just a little bit, like if I did see something within range. But yeah, I never fully explored every world. I just kind of just, if I could grab some bananas here and there just because I wanted to like level up. And that's what I'm glad. The bananas actually had a purpose. Unlike something like the moons in Mario, which just felt like, oh, it made my number counter go up.
Yeah, bananas were more of a thing that, because I saw people, it was like you can go through the game without ever getting a single banana, which I think was interesting. Whereas like Mario Odyssey, the moons were more used as progression blockers, where get this certain number of moons, move on to the next world. Where I think the bananas are more interesting of, hey, you gotta get like you can get bananas if you want to level up and like grow stronger, or you can just completely ignore them and like play the game as you want. And I think, honestly, Moon, I think you just answered the next question I had, which was like thoughts on the skill tree, specifically the favorite skill of yours. And I have to imagine for you is that sonar if you were spamming it.
Yeah, sonar was one I did focus a lot on. Strength, I think, was like the first thing I tried to max out most, and then it was like health after that. I think it was like strength, health, sonar, and then I think I kind of like every once in a while like upgraded some of the Bananza abilities.
I think for me, I was like a really big fan of the chunk jump, specifically just for getting to higher areas and the speedrunning potential of that ability. I've been watching some speedruns of the game, and it's kind of insane what you're able to do. I saw someone that was able to figure out kind of an infinite height glitch with chunk jump, which is like way beyond my skill level. But the fact that that's possible kind of just adds to the toy box chest of mechanics that I feel like this game does a really good job of balancing. But yeah, no, I mean, for me, Chunk Jump for sure was like the one that I had the most fun with, and I was spamming the hell out of the sonar as well.
Mm-hmm. So first off, like skill tree, I think is one of the most underrated things that's added to this game. It just changes the loop of getting moons through the fact that instead of like Odyssey or other 3D platformers where you're constantly just getting collectibles and you're not seeing an instant reward, every 5 bananas you're getting a new skill point, which leads to filling up the tree, and there's a lot of the tree, so you're constantly wanting to get bananas. And I think that loop just adds to the wanting to collect everything, at least for me.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Yeah, and that definitely did lead me to wanting to explore just a little bit, just be like, okay, let me at least go find a couple more bananas just to get one more skill point so I can upgrade like my health one more time or something like that. So it actually did incentivize me to explore just a little bit. It's like, okay, I can go to the next level, but let me just hang on this layer just a couple more minutes, go grab some more bananas or some more fossils so I can grab this before I move on.
I'd say that my favorite skill is kind of anything that just made the elephant suck more.
Dude, that elephant, I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit, but that thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, it helped a lot in the end game.
Speaking of Bonanzas, I mean, Bonanza forms, like, what do you guys think just as an overall mechanic? Like, do you think Bonanza forms were an exciting new addition? Because I think for me, I enjoy the Bonanza forms. I like going into them. I just wish they weren't so easy to refill your gauge, where it just takes a very small amount of gold. And with the end game challenges, like, it does become more of a difficult thing to kind of keep track of. But for the most of the game, it's like I never had to really worry about like, oh no, I don't have enough bananergy, whatever the fuck it was called.
Honestly,
it was very rare that you were ever out of gold to fill that thing up. It was very rare instances, and of course they even give you like that item that like instantly refills it too, in case that rare one instance that you somehow didn't have gold to smash through and get it.
Melon juice.
Yeah, and so it was like most games like this. There's always that easy mode option. It's because it's made for kids. But it's like I appreciate it and it didn't, because it's like for a game like this, you don't want that difficulty in that kind of regard. And but yeah, it would be nice if that was like toggleable or something like that.
Yeah, and I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think on the forums in general, it's just I'm an anime fan, so throw me some cool transformations for my main character, and I'm going to be down. And so I liked all of them, although some are definitely better than most, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just if you could maybe, I think what you said, Moon, just like a toggle, or at the very least, like just a bit more gold would be nice. But you know, at the end of the day, I think about like that quote. You control the buttons you press, and it's like, yeah, I guess I could just not use the Bonanza forms every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was the thing, is I realized I was not actually using the forms very often unless I absolutely had to, like the game required me to. So I think that was maybe it's not affecting me as much, because unless the game required, like, you know, those pathways that required you to be zebra because you had to be fast enough, or something that required you to suck with the elephant or whatnot, like I wasn't using the banana form, which is funny because I'm like, as soon as I got the ostrich, I'm like, okay, so there's going to be a lot of way to cheat just by being able to fly around. And I kept forgetting to use the ostrich so many times.
Yeah, for sure. That's the interesting thing, is like, I bet if on a second playthrough I just use the ostrich and kind of float across most of the challenges in this game, which I think is really cool that the game has so many different ways to play it. Let's talk about the actual forms themselves. First and foremost, the first form you get is the Kong Bonanza, which is just like a bigger, stronger DK. You can punch through concrete. I think this is a cool form, like design-wise, for sure. That's one thing I definitely want to talk about, is just designs in a bit. But I think, to me, it's like kind of basic. It very much feels like the first form you get, where it's just like, hey, you can punch through concrete now.
It's your base form. It's your bigger, better version of your base form.
This is my favorite form, and I think it's the one that I had the most fun with. It's definitely kind of grounded and more basic, But also, I think that just leads to its strength that Donkey Kong is just that fun to control. So just amping him up by like 100 is just really fun. And I think the other forms, which we'll get to one by one, are more unique, and some of them are like near the top. The Kong was just a classic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like Kong was almost like the go-to form for me, where if there was like a lot of enemies nearby, I'm like, okay, let me just pop into Kong form. It was a godsend for like the final like enemy challenge where you had to kill a bunch of enemies. That thing was very useful for that. But I think it's just for me, I'm like, I don't get excited using Kong form the same way I do a couple of the other ones. Next one was the next one I got was Zebra. I know you can also go to the ostrich world first, but I did the ice area first. Zebra, I think my issue with Zebra is that it's used for very specific situations where you got to run along the bridge, and then otherwise it's just kind of like, okay, it doesn't add that much to Kong's moveset.
Yeah. I only really use it for times when you had to run fast because of certain bridges. I did use it in some like the final boss fight because of his of K. Rool's sucking power and being able to run away from the suction helped. But besides that, I never really used it.
Honestly,
I did like the song though. The song is a good song.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite song.
Yeah. Which Zebra definitely is probably my least favorite, and I could guess part of that is just because of the level that it comes from, which I'll talk about later in a different category.
Yeah. It's not my least favorite. There's one later on that's easily my least favorite. I want to talk next about Ostrich though. This one is close to my favorite actually, like probably second favorite. I like the ability to fly, even if it's for a little bit, but especially when you start upgrading it and kind of are able to like fly longer distances, you're able to glide. I think it's really strong. I like using it for like skipping certain segments just to see what I can do with it. And like I said, it's like I think on a second playthrough, that thing's going to be really fun to mess around with.
Yeah, I think it might be my favorite one just because of what you're able to get away with and just the song too. Just it's such a weird song, and I think we'll talk about this over in general, but I think they literally on purpose chose animals for these transformations. Like, okay, what's the weirdest animal we can get for the speed transformation? What's the weirdest animal we can get for the flight transformation? It's like zebra and ostrich.
The thing it's there are references to the classic DKC games where you would have like little animal buddies that you could ride around in. Like you guys saw Cranky Kong in the game. It's like when Cranky Kong was with Rambi. That's one of the animal buddies. And then in the original like DKC games, it's like you could ride a zebra. I don't think you could ride a zebra, but it's a reference to a different game, I think. But ostrich was one. You could ride an elephant, and you could also hop with a snake. So that's why it's like it's kind of more of a reference than anything else. But it is funny to have zebra be the stand-in for very fast runners.
Yeah, and I had put ostrich as my number 4, and that's not to say that I don't like it, because I think just 1 through 4 are very close for me. They're a big step above zebra for me, so.
That's fair. Elephant, this is my favorite by far, because of how ridiculous it is. This is like the one that genuinely feels like I could have broken the game at certain points, but the game was able to kind of be pretty steady for the most part, even with the elephant form. But just the amount of gold that would fly out, just kind of invalidating certain areas by sucking everything up. Absolutely adore the elephant form. And the area comes from like just all that lava, just saying, you know what, I don't want to deal with this, and just sucking it up is it's just absolute fun.
Yeah, an elephant will be the most memorable for me because I have 2 instances within the game that are going to be like standouts for me. One was, so there's like this part near the end of the game where I apparently I played the game wrong, and it was near the end of the game where I guess the point of the level was it was like white thorns, and you're supposed to like surf and turf across it.
Oh yeah, and then you sucked it up instead. I saw other people do that.
I spent like 10-15 minutes just sucking that whole thing up. Where apparently you're supposed to like suck it up and then like glide across it. And I'm like, oh, so I just literally spent 10 minutes sucking all that white thorns up for nothing. The second was at the very end of the game where you're supposed to spend all that gold to get across. I didn't have enough gold for the third and final one, so I went back to the racing level, and I spent almost a half an hour sucking up that giant trophy of Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong so I can have enough gold. And so I can finally pass that third barrier. And I have pictures of like a before and after shot of me sucking up all that gold in elephant form.
Dude, it was so funny. Like you could just destroy that whole trophy and get like 10K gold, I think.
Yeah, I'd put elephant as my number 2 in it because it's the most unique and the most fun, and I think even just gameplay wise, it's the one that's utilized in the most creative ways. Having to like guide the ice cubes, having to like put something somewhere else by throwing something you suck up. I think it's just utilized in a lot of fun ways. It actually makes you think pretty hard.
Yeah, it's the most unique for sure, where you suck things up and then you spit out like a ball, and all the balls have different properties depending on what you sucked up. And that's because what threw me for a loop for the longest time, because you have those enemies that are like encased in like adamantium or whatever, and you can't destroy it by any other means but to suck up gold, so it's explosive, so you could throw that at them, and then that makes the thing explode. I was stumped on that for the longest time. So while Elephant isn't my favorite, it's definitely the most versatile and the most unique of all the transformations, and then one they use the most robust.
For sure. And then final Bananza form is Snake, and this is easily my least favorite.
It's the least favorite, it's the least they use in the game, it's the least everything. The only thing it has going for it is the music.
I think my thing with Snake, it reminds me, Fetch, if you remember the Spring Mario from Mario Galaxy. Not nearly as bad, but like just that I don't like platformers where when you walk around you're hopping, because it just completely throws off my rhythm. It's like, am I jumping now or what? It's a weird thing, but like I always hate that. So whenever I'm in Snake form, I just make sure I have to move around as little as possible so I don't deal with that. But the glare is. The thing about the like glare where you slow down time is it's cool, but it's so underutilized in my opinion.
Yeah, you never think to use, like I forgot that was like an ability to use in that thing.
This is actually my number 3.
Oh, okay. So you were into it?
I was into it, and I at first I wasn't, but once you get like the double jump, I think it kind of adds to it. And it just makes it fun to like skip around some certain challenges in like a satisfying way.
The double jump is really cool to mess around with for sure.
I just completely forgot about it. Like after I passed the level where you get introduced to it, it's like I just never went to it, and I completely forgot. Like, oh yeah, it has a double jump, it has a glare. It just never felt like a tool in my repertoire to go back to. Like, which I always learned. Like, okay, I can use Kong to go smash through concrete. I can use Zebra to run faster to stuff. I can use Ostrich to flyers. I can use Elephant to suck up stuff. Snake never felt like more than jump.
It never felt like I really like. Even there's a section near the beginning of the like the final level at New Donk City where you have to like you're meant to use Snake form, and I just used Kong form because I was just like I never thought about using Snake form, but it's like, oh, that would have been way easier actually.
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
Which it's like by far it's a great layer that it's in. It's like one of my favorite layers, which we'll get into in a second.
Layer. Except for the like tower building that you have near the end of it after you get it. Like it's like a multiple like spiraling tower that you have to climb up. I somehow missed one of the final jumps and I fell down all the way down to the bottom of the tower, and I was so pissed off.
Just an only up challenge right there.
Yeah. And the only other memorable thing for Snake for me is I went to a video that had all the Bananza songs on it, and one of the top comments is, Eminem sure has been quiet ever since Snake Bonanza dropped.
Dude, it's so wild. I love that song.
It's the greatest rap song in quite a while.
Speaking of layers, what would y'all say is your favorite layers? Like the layers that stand out for you the most? For me, immediately I'd have to go Feast layer. I think Feast layer was by far, and it's like the second to last layer, or the third to last technically. But that one really, really worked for me of like kind of this giant amusement park type area, and you're like throwing salt, and I feel like the level design was much stronger, and it kind of felt like it was more like, God, how do I say it? The level design felt like it was more purposeful in that layer more than anything else, where it felt like they were like, no, you actually have to follow what we're doing as a level and when we're making it, which I think was really smart. And I do think the boss fight there is actually probably one of the stronger boss fights, which overall I thought the boss fights were pretty bad, but I thought that one was like, okay, this one's good.
Yeah, Feastler's also my number one. It was so good. It's easily the most memorable layer. The theming is just wild. It's really big, but also dense in all of its things to
Yeah.
do. So and everything just felt purposeful. It was easily the most fun I've had with the game, and that's what you want as you crescendo to the end.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the Feast layer, I can't remember if that's the final boss fight or not, but it's the fight where you're like on the rails and you're just kind of throwing the balls at them.
Oh, the minecart?
Yeah, like I just did not like that because all I got was flashbacks to Super Mario Sunshine on the roller
The
coaster.
fucking roller coaster. Oh
Yeah,
god.
every time there's a game like that, that's all I get is just flashbacks to that. And so many Nintendo games have that kind of level boss fight.
You gotta do the rails.
Not only that, but also Kingdom Hearts 2, the Tron levels have a boss fight like that because Tron had a thing like that where you're constantly putting up shields and you had to take down the shields as you're spinning around them. And anyway, yeah, Feast level was also granted. There's a lot of similarities to Feast level and the amusement park to Super Mario Sunshine. There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I think that's why it was. It's very much like Peanut Park from Sunshine. I just love amusement park levels and platformers.
It was, and this Feast level was like the first and only level that I truly got lost in. Like there were just some parts of the thing that I just truly got lost in. Yeah, I didn't really vibe with it until I got to like the sewer part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
any layers that stand out to you, other than Feast?
I think I can just for like aesthetic levels, aesthetically. Tempest was pretty cool, even though the wind was annoying. I couldn't figure out how to like suck up or deal with the typhoons for a bit once I first got Elephant.
I think you just ignore the typhoons.
Yeah, the Radiance was kind of cool, and I don't know what it is, but the way that landfill, all the trash and junk was done, I think was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. That's my least favorite layer.
I'll shout out just Forest. I think that's the first layer that really elevates, and it's still in my top 3 after I finish the game.
Forest is great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking. It's like I think the game really gets good after the game is good, and then after I think the divide when you go to the forest, and then eventually the junction. You're past the halfway point. I think that's where the game really hits its stride and reaches its peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the canyon one's also like aesthetically. I really like the canyon one too, with like the permanent sunset.
Yeah, and I also really digged Resort Layer. I thought that one was pretty fun. Of like messing around with the fruit.
Yeah, the Resort Layer was weird for me because that's like the shortest level if you beeline it. Like you are there for no joke, like 10-15 minutes.
It's a very short one. I think it's meant to be kind of a break after like the really big boss fight, the previous layer. When it comes to least favorite, I mean, I already said landfill. I just aesthetically just didn't do much for me. I wish there was more to see there, but otherwise, I think the thing is, like it's my least favorite, but like I don't hate it, and I think for the most part, I like pretty much every layer in this game, at least to a baseline level. There wasn't any I dreaded playing through.
Yeah, Freezer is probably my least favorite by a while. It's easily the layer that I honestly could say that I really didn't have that much fun playing through. There's a lot of Freezer layer where you can't destroy it. For a game about destruction, I thought that was kind of weird that you just aren't able to destroy certain parts. Especially in like Cube Box, I thought that wasn't very fun. And I think like just the constant fire in Freezer layer once you get down below is very annoying to the point where like I did die a couple times.
A lot of lava.
But it didn't feel like, oh, I just didn't have the skills. It felt like it was annoyingly placed to the point where it wasn't a skill issue, I guess. But yeah it was easily like it just wasn't that fun, but like it's easily like the bottom for me.
Any standout bad layers for human?
Just not so much the layer itself, but what it basically means, and that would be the groove layer. And because just the way that the story kind of unfolds, because this is the layer where in the story you are stripped away from Pauline, so you don't have access to your bonanzas. You're on this rescue mission because Void has taken control of the elevator thing, and so you're trying to get that done. You're trying to get Pauline back. you're on your own, you're working with your former adversaries, yada yada. All these like story beats are coming together. But when you actually look at the level itself and just what it is, it really takes away because you're stripped away of everything, of almost everything, and it just goes to show like how much of the game is designed around the Bonanza and everything else. Because when you take that away, you're left with this very bare basic level. It's coolly designed. The Groove Layer is a cool design level, but what you actually do in the level is just not that interesting because you've been stripped away of so much.
Yeah, I
So
think the best part about the Groove Layer for me, like I actually liked it a good amount, but I get everything you're saying is completely valid. I get what you're saying. One thing I really like though about it is when you play music on the jukebox or like the kind of whatever it is in the rest areas, it's very like quiet and muted and like kind of muffled.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Groove Layer in the post game and do the little quest there, you can play any music and it's like perfect high definition. And it's like I
Yeah.
just kind of I just put that on in the background while I was working on stuff.
yeah, like aesthetically, it's cool. It's designed really nicely, and I did like the whole like you have to dig through the ground to get the music to the core. Like aesthetically, it's really cool designed and all that, but just the way it just shows how much of it's almost like it was a bad idea to include a level of let's strip away Pauline from DK for a level because it just goes to show it's just not a good idea to do this kind of level, this kind of story beat, I guess, is what say. Like you should not have done this kind of story beat.
I think it's like also just shows. I feel like 99% of games where like there's a level where it strips away all your stuff. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So I think just in general, it's just
So it's not
yeah.
it's not my problem with the Groove Layer itself. It's my problem with the story beat that happens in Groove Layer.
Yeah, going back to it after the fact was a lot more fun. So I get what you're saying though. It's like just story wise where it's placed, Groove Layer just happens to be kind of the weakest. Want to move into boss fights. Now, I mentioned it already. I thought they were overall pretty weak. I think there were some standouts for sure. Obviously, the K. Rool boss fights were a ton of fun. I thought the Void Kong fights, especially the final one, was a blast. But my overall kind of issue with the boss fights in this game, and I wonder if there's a bigger discussion to be had, is they're really easy. And specifically, it feels weird that they don't have 3 phases for certain ones. Like the Grumpy Kong fights, he has 1 health bar and he goes down like so quick. And I'm just, I feel like it's like there should have been more here for most of these boss fights.
Yeah, I agree. It's honestly one of the reasons it's like 9.5 for me is because I think you can see what they can do with boss fights with both of the K. Rool stuff and all of the Void Kong stuff. And even like Poppy Kong I thought was a decent boss fight. But I think just some of them are underbaked and kind of slapped together to the point where it's like, oh, that was it after spending a lot of time in a lair and now you're just moving on. It didn't feel as rewarding.
Yeah.
All the
felt like a
boss
footnote.
fights of like Kong characters, like actual characters, are actually decent boss fights. But all the ones that are just like creatures and animals and like servants, the Grumpy, were all kind of underbaked. The only one that gave me issue wasn't, I think, in the Radiance layer where you had to move him into the light so you were able to hit him. That one actually gave me trouble because he just would not go into the light for me.
Yeah, that was funny. It was just like he would constantly avoid the light areas. And it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it comes down to one of the other issues being that the difficulty of this game wasn't the hardest. And I know that's like an issue with a lot of people. I don't personally have that issue. I thought it was like easy in the beginning for sure. I think it was too easy in the early parts, but also I think by the end you start to reach the more difficult boss fights, more difficult areas, enemies that start to pose a lot more of a threat. And I think by the end I was like, I'm fine with how the difficulty of this game is. I don't get too upset if a game's easy as long as it's not mindless.
And the problem was it was mindless even kind of near the end. Like take away the K. Rool boss fight and it still kind of is little mindless. Like even the second to last level with the Feast Layer and you're still mindless with that roller coaster boss fight, the minecart one. So and even in the sewer one was kind of mindless too. So like I said, if the boss fight doesn't end in Kong, or K. Rool, he's like it wasn't a pretty good boss fight.
I like the slug at the end of Feast Layer, like the very end fight.
Yeah, yeah. The problem is though, is just the bar was just really low.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Bench, any thoughts on the difficulty of the game?
Definitely easier, and I think some of the late game challenges are pretty challenging, especially the Bonanza rehearsals. I thought those were pretty challenging, or at least even if they weren't like challenging in the fact that like enemies were difficult, they were challenging with their challenges. So I think as the game progresses, it gets more challenging. Just the bosses were so easy
Yeah.
that kind of killed those for me.
Next, I definitely one of the strongest parts of the game for me, the OST. I mean, I don't really have any complaints here. I think my one thing is I wish the level themes were a bit more memorable, but even then, I really dug the vibes of them, and they're very relaxing to listen to. And the standout moments of like, especially by the end with the K. Rool music, and especially like the Bonanza form themes. Like the Bonanza form themes are so catchy, despite Pauline singing literal gibberish. I was so into them. But yeah, I think this is a very, very strong OST.
Yeah, I'm definitely mixed on the OST. Like it's got incredible highs, like some of the best songs Nintendo has made. Like Breaking Through and the vocals to that,
Yeah.
incredible. Still listen to it, and I think it's better than Jump Up Superstar. But I think the level themes, because I spent so much time in the levels, it just felt like a lot of that time was void of any memorable music from the levels specifically. But like you have like the challenge level themes, like the DK remix on top of like Sticker Brush Symphony. You have
Yeah.
all those classic remixes that are really good on top of like the late game stuff, like the K. Rool themes and all those. I know those are callbacks, but those are some really good songs.
Of course.
And I just think the level themes specifically are what I wanted to have. Like if everything else was going to suck, I'd like those to be good because I'm going to spend 35 of my 42 hours with the game in those levels kind of
Yeah.
collecting. So, but I think just everything else around those themes is very good, like really good. Some of Nintendo's best, though.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, where it's just like when I go to those bonus levels and I'm listening to like Sticker Bush Symphony, or these other songs, or like Gangplank Galleon, it kind of tells me just how much stronger that music is, and it's like, damn, David Wise really was just like in his element for the Donkey Kong Country trilogy of nailing what the vibes of this franchise should be. And I think when you go to the actual levels, it's very just chill. Like it's not bad music, but it's just not like ear catching. It's not like, oh my god, I remember this song forever now, like the same way I did with like Sticker Bush Symphony.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the OC?
Yeah, I mean, like Breaking Through is the obvious highlight and the one that's going to be remembered for a lot of things. All of the like I said, all the Bonanza ones are standout. But yeah, like I said, outside of those, it's doesn't really nothing else really stands out, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because
Yeah,
that's always my problem with music, especially just like world music. It doesn't really stand out to me because when music is fitting, I don't really pay attention to, and I think that, and I'm pretty sure that's just a me problem, is when it's so fitting that I just don't hear it because it's so. Now if I enter like the Lagoon level and Cotton Eye Joe starts playing, I'm gonna notice that.
could you imagine?
But when something is fitting, it just kind of blends in. I'm just kind of in the zone. So I guess that just means they just did a good job, and I'm just going to notice that, hey, yeah, this is good music.
I will say, I do think this Gangplank Galleon remix is somehow better than the Smash remix. And I love the Smash remix, but I think this one wins.
I'm just going to say that I'm not disagreeing, but I also don't agree at the same time. And I think the reason why is
they're both bangers at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're both bangers at the end of the day. And I think the reason why there's going to be like a divide on that is I'm listening to both back to back. I think the reason why I might lean more towards the Smash is because the Smash version is constantly like always upbeat because it's meant to be battle music, whereas the Bonanza version has build up. It has slower versions, and then it has quieter version, has times to be slower and quieter, whereas the Smash version is always upbeat because you're constantly supposed to be fighting and whatnot, and that's always something with Smash remix of music, and that you can tell that's I always noticed I first picked up on this with Megalovania. Like my first exposure to Megalovania from Undertale was the Smash remix. And I'm like, oh, this is such a cool song. And so I go to listen to the original version of Megalovania from actual Undertale, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, this is all right.
it's the
but
exact same.
So I actually like listened to so I'm like, oh, this is okay, but I actually kind of prefer the Smash version. So that's when I realized that so many Smash remix versions of songs is supposed to be more upbeat because you're supposed to be fighting to it. And so same thing with Gangplank Galleon is it's supposed to be all upbeat all the time because you're supposed to be fighting to it. So it just depends on what you need. Do you need constant, always upbeat because you're supposed to be fighting, or do you want that slow building, and then you hit that? Because I will say that, like, I put it in the Soggy's Excel sheet for music that we have, but like that certain section of Gangplank Galleon from Bananza, that part hits hard. Like if we're comparing just that section, yes, that one part where the chorus hits in or whatever we want to call it, that part it slaps hard. But like just the whole song in general, I prefer the Smash version just because it's all upbeat.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that just is a testament to how strong Smash remixes are in general, though. I think for me I guess it's like I prefer an electric guitar over the kind of brass, but even then, I mean, like again, both are absolute bangers. I do miss the rapping in the Smash remix. That's the funniest part of that remix for me. Let's get into the visuals. Basically, like character designs, kind of how this game looks. I think this game looks spectacular. If anything, though, I think my one like real big flaw with this game outside of the boss fights is there were definitely some frame rate issues, specifically for the Void Kong and the final K. Rool fight, where they both have an attack that just says "fuck your frame rate." It just completely stutters to it. Almost unplayable. I dealt with it, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is insane.
Yeah, it's like that's not like an oversight that like just got missed in playtesting. Like, no, that is something
Everyone
like
deals with it.
everyone should have noticed that, and they should have been like, okay, we need to deal with this.
Yeah, I definitely the frame rate. I never noticed it. Like besides those two boss fights, like I know some people had a problem with the just constant like frame hitching. I never noticed that. And the map definitely has it, but also like I like what they did with the map. And if a lower frame rate was a sacrifice for that, I'm fine with that because I think what they did with the map is really cool.
Yeah, the map was really good. Like it's because it's based on, or I don't know if it's based on, but it's very similar to one of my favorite maps in gaming, the Doom Eternal map.
Oh yeah, where it's very like
detailed map, like this 3D like blueprint kind of way where you can spin around the whole thing. Like more maps need to be like that. So I definitely appreciate that. So whatever sacrifices you had to do to get that kind of map, I'm all for it. But yeah, I never really had any problems with any hitches or anything like that outside of the two obvious boss fights.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
Yeah, and I do think those moves that they did in the boss fight, specifically K. Rool with just the giant hands coming down and you have to change them to like gold and whatever, that's like a pretty cool idea. And I'm fine with the frame hitches, even if it's disastrous.
Yeah, it gets a little much at points. Even if let's be honest, it's like a couple attacks, but even then, I'm like, you shouldn't be having any like major issues in this way.
You would think though, like if they have this attack and you're like, okay, this is happening every single time we're doing this attack, you would think they would do something to try to change that attack or do something to lessen that.
For sure.
And graphics wise, it's gorgeous, great looking game.
Yeah,
I like how vibrant the colors are. I saw some people say like, oh, it's too bright, it's too like aggressive. I don't really feel that. I think it really helps everything stand out more. I love the way that like kind of you change the colors for Donkey Kong and it's so noticeable. It's not just like a little tiny skin color change. It's like, no, like you get like some outfits that are really awesome where it's just like orange and red and whatnot. But yeah, overall, I'm very into the visuals. I didn't put this, I actually forgot to, but like, what did you guys think of the character customization of like changing Donkey Kong and Pauline's outfits?
That's actually one of the things that I took a point off of, and I was going to save that for one of the discussions later. But I actually found the whole RPG customization thing to be one of its weaker points, to be the fact that it was almost non-existent, at least for me, because pants thing, the Pauline thing of like buying costumes and it being almost non-existent. Like, yeah, they were buffs, like they were points that like, okay, you take less damage from these certain types of attacks. Cool. But it's like it was always for that specific level. Like the like these pants that like you take less poison damage. Oh, this is a poison level. You take less damage from thorns. Oh, this is a thorn level, and or you move you move faster in snow. Oh, this is a snow level. It was always stuff like that. So I never found that very interesting.
Yeah.
And I never changed Pauline's outfit. I always kept, even though there was always outfits like, oh, your ostrich bonanza lasted longer by 30%. It's like, no, I'll just keep a regular outfit that gives all my bonanzas like 10% longer. And the only time I changed DK's outfit, like I gave him the tie that made treasure chests appear more often, and then near the end I gave him the pants that gave him like all around better defenses, and that was like the only time I changed his outfits. And so yeah, I was kind of upset that they in the direct they showed off all these outfits, and they're like, oh yes, mix and match for your situations. So you have all these wacky outfits and all these different bonuses, and I'm like, cool. And then it turned out to be absolutely nothing. So that was one of the downsides that I took some points off of my score for Bananza because of that. It was an absolute nothing burger of a feature for me.
Yeah, I never customized Pauline, and I don't really care about any of the bonuses. I just did what looked cool.
Yes.
But Donkey Kong, like especially the colors in the back third of the game, those colors are really cool when they start getting out there, and I really enjoy just customizing the Kong.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is fair, man. I think I just really dig just messing around with the colors and outfits and letting myself like, okay, like for this area, I'm just gonna like change up the colors just to screw around with it. I didn't really care that much about like the actual bonus effects, except for like certain challenges where it's like, I'd rather not get hit by lava rain when exploring the rest of Tempest Lair.
Yeah, well, it's like, the bonuses weren't like the thing that was mainly dragging me, but it's just like I was expecting, something to be there. The way they made an emphasis on it, I was expecting something to be there, and then there was literally nothing. It was always like 10% less damage or 10% less poison. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But I think it was just the genericness of it was always level specific is what got me.
Let's talk about the story, the characters, and whatnot. I know this is very much a 3D platformer and Nintendo game, so there's not much to go off of here, but I think there's actually some fun things to talk about, and especially to talk about the finale. But what did you guys think of just overall, like the story of like DK's plot of trying to get more bananas and Pauline trying to go home?
I said this on the podcast, but it's very much it's a Disney Pixar movie kind of plot.
Yeah,
and
Wreck-It Ralph.
I mean, it works, but I'm not nominating it for best story of the year or anything. But for what it does and the story that they make it work, and that's about it. It works.
Yeah, it's very much like the way I look at it is like a big Pixar movie where you're not really in it for the overall story. You're in it for like you love the characters, you love the vibes, all that.
You like their interactions, and that is like the driving force. And what works is their interactions, because much like a Disney movie, you have this big dumb brute of a character who's very lovable, and you have like the smart little kid. It's funny how much exactly the
setup. Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah,
it's Wreck-It Ralph. It's like so many others like that.
I definitely enjoyed the little themes, just of getting down and then coming back up, especially with New Donk. And I honestly gave me more of a pull than something like Odyssey does, because I like just the interactions and just having a little buddy that is not Cappy. And it definitely just added to the experience, and we'll talk about the characters individually here soon. So,
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think I'm aligned with you guys, where it's just like I liked playing through it. I like how fun it is, but it's not like, like you said, not best story of the year. It's just like, oh yeah, this is fun. I want to talk about the actual characters themselves. I mean, let's talk about our boy Donkey Kong. The titular character. I talk about it. I mean, we'll talk about their designs as well. It's like I really love the new character design for Donkey Kong. It took me a bit to get used to, but I think just it allows way more expressiveness than the rare design. And I love the rare design. We've had it for so long, but I think I was like, okay, I'm ready for a redesign. And I think this one does a lot. You see it, when you stand still, like sometimes he'll like kind of make little bubbles with his mouth or do like weird faces, and especially during the cutscenes, he's very goofy. I really dig like what they did with him from an animation standpoint. And I also just love how his main objective is more bananas and how you can respond to every character. It's like, what do you seek? And it's just bananas.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Donkey Kong is currently my front runner for character of the year.
Of course.
I just
I'm right there with you. Better than Doll Man.
And I just beat Death Stranding too, which is a crazy thing for me to say. I like Donkey Kong. I love the expressiveness. Towards the end of the game, his like interactions with Pauline, especially towards the ending, and caring about her more than the bananas, it's like that's peak storytelling, right?
Was there no one in Expedition you like more? Because I
Donkey
didn't
Kong.
play it, so I don't know. Okay, Donkey Kong, yeah, fair enough. But do you like Donkey Kong?
Yeah, I mean, he has more character here than I've ever seen him. And I just find the whole thing with Donkey Kong just very interesting, not from just the design standpoint, but just his whole rework as a character for Nintendo, because not only are they now basing it on his movie design, but his voice actor, his new Japanese voice actor is the one from the movie. So it's a total reconstruction of Donkey Kong everywhere. And it's kind of funny just to think about, like, not only is this a new design, a new voice actor from the Japanese side, but it's like it's got to be interesting from like a Japanese point of view, because this is like the equivalent if Nintendo of America were to come out and say, okay, so yeah, moving forward, the new voice actor for Donkey Kong in all of our games is Seth Rogen.
No, the darkest timeline.
Because that's basically what happened in Japan. Because because this was this Japanese voice actor for the movie. And
yeah,
but it's just interesting to see Nintendo on this role of just redoing everything Nintendo. Like they're replacing so many of their voice actors and doing so many retooling of their characters, not just voice actors, but not so much for a lot more for Donkey Kong, but a little bit less so for their other characters, where they're just going through this evolution, and it's just interesting to see.
let's talk about. Sorry, I just message. Let's talk about Pauline. We had Pauline now aged down. So assumedly this is a game that takes place before the current Mario timeline. It was a lot of like interesting stuff about timeline. It's like, why does Donkey Kong capture Pauline? And I think this game kind of solves that. When you talk to Pauline during like the little break interstitials, it's pretty clear that the Pauline in the original Donkey Kong arcade game that Donkey Kong kidnaps, that Donkey Kong is Cranky Kong, and that's not Pauline. That's a character called Lady, and that's Pauline's grandma. And
yeah, you watched the same video I did.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's just obsessive over Mario lore. And then Jumpman is Mario's granddad or whatever. And now it seems clear that like our Pauline is the same Pauline as this game, and then that's just later on in the timeline. Dorky Mario timeline shit aside, but what'd you guys think of Pauline in this game?
I mean, she's great.
She's my current. I don't know about character of the year, but female voice performance of the year is probably what I'm currently running for her.
Yeah. I think she's definitely a standout and adds to the experience way more than I thought she would. Just having her there, her interactions with Donkey Kong, elevate her and Donkey Kong, and especially her in that ending, and then the breaking through song. It just doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, I think just as a companion, she never got annoying. She never got yappy. I think about like Mimir in God of War or Dollman, just in Death Stranding 2, where it feels like they're constantly yapping tutorials at you, like, Kratos, you're on fire! It's like, yeah, I could see that, Mimir. Or Dollman keeping telling you that your sniper doesn't have a fucking suppressor on it for the 6th time that day. Shit like that is so aggravating. So it was nice to have Pauline, where she is not constantly yapping at you. She's not like telling you how to beat the boss fight. She just infers for you. And sometimes she'll say, "Look, a banana," right in front of a banana, But like, it's such a like, oh, that's cute. You know, I'll just break the banana and we eat it.
The only thing,
Yeah, go for it.
the only time she got a little too yappy for me was it's like every time I just wanted to just take a rest at my rest stop and just heal up. It's like every time I take a rest, she wanted to tell a little story. I'm just like, I just want to rest, Pauline. I just want to take a rest, save my game, and it's like, no, you got to tell me a little story. For it's like, okay, I'm just gonna start mashing the A button.
Well, I think what's nice about those is though you can actually skip that. You could just say, "Nah, I'm still asleep."
Yeah, I know, but I feel bad.
Yeah, same. I could never do that to her. And there was a point where like I would just read them, but I would just skip like the voice acting type thing. But yeah, I really like those segments. But yeah, I'm with you that there's a lot of them. There's some cool like little lore things here and there, but outside of that, it's like she would tell puns sometimes, and then I'm like, please, Pauline, stop telling puns. That's the last thing I ever want to hear. But yeah, overall, I really dig Pauline. And also, I didn't mess around with the 2-player mode at all, but I know that's like a thing where you can like shout letters. I didn't mess with it, but I know that's pretty good for kids. Let's talk about the new character. Before actually we talk about the Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong, you know, these other Kongs in the game. Any real thoughts on those guys? I mean, they're more kind of relegated to almost cameo appearances at this point.
Yeah, they're almost like almost non-existent in this game.
I do like how Dixie specifically references that the country games happened before this.
Candy.
Like, sorry, go ahead.
Candy Kong.
Yeah, the referencing Candy Kong is crazy. I thought they'd want to lock that character up in the vault for eternity, but she's still relevant in the lore, I guess. But yeah, I like how it's like mentioned that, oh, you know, one time me and Diddy went to save you, Donkey Kong. Like, cute little, like, references to the original trilogy. But outside of that, they're very much like, oh, you can race Diddy and Dixie for a banana, and then Cranky Kong is just telling you little stories. Which is funny because Cranky actually references K. Rool throughout the whole game, but you never actually, you know, you don't know until the very end.
Yeah, they were all cool cameos. And the house as well. Shout out the house in that challenge level.
Yeah, that was awesome. Let's talk about Void Co. Specifically, Void Kong, Poppy Kong, Grumpy Kong. I was gonna go in thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like the Brutals. Like, okay, who are these doofuses? I fucking love Void Co. I think all three of these
are great.
Yep,
they're awesome. They're full of personality. I love how like, yeah, they're very like basic. Like Grumpy Kong is grumpy, and like Poppy Kong is very goofy. Void Kong, I really digged as a main villain to the point where I'm like, I'm fine if K. Rool's not in this game because I think Void Kong works.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're just a compelling recurring antagonist throughout the game, and I really do hope in like the next Smash they have an assist trophy because they just need the representation.
Or at least put them in Mario Kart. Like I feel like Void Kong makes perfect sense for that.
Yeah.
And then the Elders. You know, not much to go, but these are the guys who give you the Bananza forms. I just really like how they're DJs. I find that really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're retired, but we still like messing around with music and shit. But I love their designs. Like I love how like they're super old and withered, but still kind of look badass.
Yeah, I agree.
It's such a weird dichotomy between the two. It's like, yeah, we're old and we're like withering away like at the last end of our lives, but yet the way they talk is like super hip and they're like super energetic in the way they talk, and like we're all about music now. But
you listen to House.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick, I also forgot to mention the Fractones, who you see throughout the game. I love these little guys. They remind me of like the classic Rare characters of just, let's just put googly eyes on some like inanimate object and call it a day. Like I love that type of stuff.
Yep, they were great.
But of course, the final character, King K. Rool and the Kremlings. I gotta really give props to Nintendo for this. The fact that they hid this completely. There was like little hints here and there, but for the most part, it's like they did not talk about K. Rool at all in the marketing. It was a big surprise for most people. Not me or Bench. We got spoiled.
I got spoiled too by goddamn YouTube people uploading music.
Dude, it's so weird. Like, why that quickly, man? Wait a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it was a little unfortunate to get spoiled, but like it didn't take away from how awesome the reveal was and just how excited that whole final chapter was.
Well, and then you see like the enemies have been them all the time. Like that was a fun reveal as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work as well for you guys, but like they're all based on like specific Donkey Kong Country enemies, like you know the normal Kremlings, the armadillos. One small thing that I didn't notice, it is a blink and you miss it. I don't know if y'all noticed this. The like, those like chomping things that are kind of like snakes, and like you find out it's like Claptrap. If you zoom in on the mouth, you actually see Claptrap, like the little blue crocodile, and he's like snapping away. It's like just a tiny detail that no one would notice unless you're using like the camera.
Yeah, I do recognize the enemies because even if I haven't played those games, I have by osmosis experienced a lot of the things and references to those games. So
yeah, I saw the bee again and I got war flashbacks because they're pieces of shit in the games. But yeah, I thought that whole final section and just K. Rool in general, I love his character. I love how like he's very like loud and boisterous, and he just has this beef with Donkey Kong that is so real. And his whole thing is like he likes bananas, but only when they're rotten. And it kind of adds to the whole like King of Rot at the end. Really love K. Rool. I'm glad to see him back.
FromSoft boss, by the way, has to be.
Yeah, that's crazy. That boss name is the King of Rot. Like, okay, this could have been a From boss. But yeah, I really love K. Rool.
Yeah, the only thing I have with it is it's like both a love and hate situation with the whole bringing back K. Rool thing. It's both a love that, hey, K. Rool hasn't been in a game properly. Like, yeah, he had his old stint in Smash and Mario Sluggers for whatever reason in like 2008.
I don't know why he was in that game. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's like besides that, yeah, he hasn't been in anything. So I respect, especially because like it's like a weird legal thing because he's not a fully Nintendo character. He's a rare character, or at least as far as we know. Like who knows? Maybe Nintendo bought the rights to him.
They've always owned K. Rool,
okay,
even when Rare made them.
But yeah, so it was like always a weird thing that they never did lean into him being like the full main character, full main villain of the franchise. So it's nice that they actually do recognize him now. Like maybe they finally realize, oh, like people love him. Like maybe Smash was him, people begging him to be in Smash was like their awakening. Like, okay, let's lean into this. But it's also kind of annoying. It's like, okay, like let's build up. Like here are some new villains for you. Like, well, let's do something new. Let's bring some new characters in the franchise, and they immediately get sidelined. Let's go back to the nostalgia bait of, okay, here's K. Rool again. So it's like it's a love hate thing of, it's like a love hate thing of like, yeah, it's cool to acknowledge that here's this fan favorite villain who hasn't had a proper showing in 20 years, but it's like also you build up your whole marketing thing of like, okay, here's some new villains and they're actually decent. It's not like the Broodlings. Like if the same thing, if they were more like the Broodlings of just a bunch of nobody, if they were more nobody jobbers, I probably wouldn't feel this way. But the fact that they actually did have some potential in them, and they just immediately were sidelined, and we never saw them again. And it was just all K. Rool slobbering after that. It's like I'm like conflicted about it.
I think my argument would be I feel like we did get enough of all three of them.
I agree,
especially in the post game. Like you get to have more Poppy and Grumpy Kong, and they're a ton of fun.
We do get a little bit of the post game, which is nice to see that we can see them again, except for Void Kong, who probably got the Dr. Eggman treatment from Sonic 3.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Void Kong, if you go back to the Forgotten Layer, Poppy's like, oh no, he lived. He just left. It's like, okay.
I'm out.
I don't know how you survived that, but sure. But yeah, I get what you're saying of like, oh, these you finally, because the thing is like the last two country games, like Returns and Tropical Freeze, the villains fucking suck. Like they're like, there's like tiki masks in Returns that have no personality, and then like this group of walruses in Tropical Freeze that like nobody cares about. So it was nice that's like, okay, you finally got some villains with personality, and I think just it was very much a fan service move. But I also think that this game is celebrating just Donkey Kong as an IP, so it would feel wrong not to have K. Rool there. I think the one thing is, okay, maybe have him like in the midway point of the game, or maybe earlier to have. Maybe they work together with Void Kong and whatnot, and we get more of all of them.
Or actually, that would have been cool. Like they team up, and then K. Rool betrays them, and it's like, actually, you know what? This is my show. This is my game. It's like, screw all of you.
Or like they were working for him the whole time, or something like that. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. Instead of just immediately like, this is my show now.
He definitely sidelines Void Kong in a big way. I get that for sure.
Yeah. So it's like it's cool and it's not at the same time. It's like,
yeah. I'm just such a K. Rool stan.
Yeah, like I said, I do like the K. Rool usage because it was so not promoted, and I do respect Nintendo for doing that. and like I said, also bringing him back after so long and realizing that K. Rool does have a following.
Let's talk about the actual finale. From the Planet Core onwards. That K. Rool reveal was very exciting. I mean, the Void Kong fight I thought was really strong, and then it kind of immediately transitions into K. Rool being. First and foremost, did you guys notice that the Banandium root was K. Rool's belly? Because I'll be honest,
No.
I didn't notice it. It very much was.
I did think it was weird. I did think it was weird looking because I'm like, okay, what is this like little bulb thing that had like a little thing on top that's like it looks like a bell, like like I was thinking like a
like an Audi.
Yeah, like an Audi, or not even that, but like a wrestling bell.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the little thing on top? Like, I suspected it was supposed to look like a flower, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's supposed to look like a bulb. And then didn't even make the connection.
But then we get him. He comes out. One small detail is his like approach theme when he sees Donkey Kong again and starts ranting. Is his final boss theme from Donkey Kong Country 2. Like you can hear notes from that, and as well as his final boss theme from 3, which I thought was just like, oh, that's a cute detail. But then you actually go into the final level, and that whole like Planet Core section, very long, 10 floors for that one, but so much fun just seeing all the enemies again. We talked about it earlier, but seeing those enemies rendered 3D models, like seeing stuff like the TNT Kremlings that walk around in the little barrels, I thought was just like, hell yeah. I'm so glad that you thought about even these weird goofballs.
Yeah, that was okay. I completely forgot about that, but that actually I think would consider a low point for the game for me was just the little gauntlet of riding the train from platform to platform just to fight some guys. Like I was not into that like at all. Like I don't know what it was, but maybe I was just in a bad mindset or something. I just want to get this game over with or something. But just going from platform to platform just to fight, just do some fights, like just get me to K. Rool. I don't know. I was just not about that at that point.
You had so much beef with K. Rool, you wanted him dead. It's like, get these moots out of my way.
And
this motherfucker likes rotten bananas.
Yeah, so I don't know what it was. Was that before? No, yeah, it was before the whole New Donk City thing. So yeah, it's like I had so much more game left to go, and I thought I was at the end. Like, just give me the K. Rool. I just want to fight him, beat him, and be done. And little did I know, I had a whole other section to go. But yeah, that whole just let's ride this minecart out and keep moving. Let's just move on. And yeah, I don't know what it was. It was not that whole minecart section. It was not vibing for me.
What about you, Bench? Let's go, Jack.
At that point in the game, I had decided that I'm gonna come back and do this last layer after I roll credits. So I just beelined it, and it took like less than 30 minutes to get down to the bottom. So
yeah, I was into it. I have so much nostalgia for those characters, so I really like just seeing them fly around.
Yeah,
even that fucking bee that I hate. Like I was like, I like how you're here, but I can feel like it was a bit long, but it's like, God, I had a big old smile the whole time. It was like, damn, I'm just happy K. Rool's back. And then we get into the actual final boss. We're in the Banandium route. The final boss, the like kind of first phase. I thought this phase was pretty fun, pretty easy, and this was the point where I was like kind of worried, like, oh no, is this going to be the final boss? Because this is kind of like it's cool, but like not what I expected out of a final boss for K. Rool. And I was wrong. There was definitely more after that, but that initial fight I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, I honestly liked the initial fight. The next one is so good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because after that, we wish upon the Banandium route, and then DK and Pauline are going to the surface. All the bananas are coming out, and then it's like what happens is you get the title and then the fake credits, which is a reference to the first Donkey Kong Country, and I was like, oh my god, those bastards actually did it with his like theme actually playing Gangplank Galleon. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I thought, because at that point I was like, does Gangplank Galleon not play? Like that'd be weird if you didn't play his theme. It's like, oh no, I was completely wrong. Like his theme is actually playing, and this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was. I liked the going up there, and then once you get to the top, we'll talk about.
Yeah, so because eventually they make it to the surface, and they're in New Donk City, which is just a pretty crazy reveal. I remember theories being that they would find, like, they would basically, like, be the founders of New Donk City. I like this idea more of just like they're going back home and like, you know, finally Pauline makes it back to the surface. DK's with her, but to have K Rool right alongside them, which not even mentioning like the boss fight before that with Gangplank Galleon fighting, which was a ton of fun. But you know, K Rool taking over City Hall and effectively killing millions of people. He like just causes a bunch of lava to flow. Like millions of people died there, right?
Yeah, like unless you know dumb Nintendo magic voodoo happens and the rot just goes away and no one was harmed in the rot. Yeah, it's like I think a lot of people just died in that thing.
They all evacuated in like the 10 seconds that he was there. But yeah, K Rool takes over, whole place is rotted, and it just turns into like K Rool City. Music starts playing, and it's like, oh man, we're actually doing this. Like I was genuinely shocked. It's like, damn, there's still gameplay after. Like I'm still gonna have like a platforming challenge. This is awesome.
Yeah, like I did not expect like more gameplay after that K Rool boss fight.
And then you know you get to the end. It's the boxing ring from Donkey Kong 64, which you know not a good game, but I'm glad they referenced it in some way. And also, I didn't notice in the background, like on the billboards, you could see stuff like for Chunky Kong, for Lanky Kong, Candy Kong,
Yeah.
like little references, which I thought were really cute. But then you get the actual boss fight, King of Rot, and I thought this boss fight was phenomenal. It was awesome for the most part outside of the frame rate dips, but otherwise I'd be like, this is a ton of fun. I love the new design. I like when you actually like get him across the corner and just start punching his ass. Really sick boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to and then we get to the actual ending of like Pauline staying on the surface, DK going back home to go get more bananas. It was just a very cute ending, and then you get breaking through with the credits, and I was just like, yeah, this is a special game. Like that whole ending was amazing.
Yeah, the ending was great. Just breaking through, easily one of my top songs of the year so far. Just great.
Now Bench, we did 100% the game.
We did.
How did you feel about like going back to get the rest of the bananas and like just that experience overall?
I had most of them at this point, but because there were some layers like the rehearsals gave you a lot of bananas.
Yeah.
So the rehearsals I did really enjoy. I thought they were fun challenges, especially the last one. I thought just a combination of everything. I enjoyed all of those, and
Really
just
difficult.
getting up really difficult. But I'm glad we got individual Bonanza challenges for all of them instead of one combined, because I think it just cemented those powers as very good. And then I just enjoyed the collecting aspect was very fun. The only thing, the last 100%, like the last percent on the 100%, like after getting 99%, having to grind out the Banandium chips.
Yeah.
I had to grind out about 5,500. So that was not fun. It took about 2.5 hours, but at that point you just got to do it because you're that close.
Yeah.
But I did still really. I'm glad that I did it. So
I'm glad it ends at a big round number at 1,000. Like I just think it's like, okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm with you in the sense of like I had a ton of fun with the rehearsals and like that whole little post game of Pauline looking for a new song was very cute. And I really digged most of the banana because I didn't go like 100% layer by layer like you did. So it was fun just going back to each layer. It's like, okay, let me grab the bananas I missed, which usually was about like 8 to 10 per layer outside of the rehearsals. So that was just a big blast in and of itself. And then also fossils. We didn't talk too much about those, but I thought they were really good to collect too. I like how a lot of them are references to the animal buddies from the other games, like the armadillo, which I thought was cute. But yeah, for the most part, it was a blast to 100% outside of the Banandium chips at the end, which thankfully I already had most of them, but it still took me about like an hour. But yeah, anything for the general game as a whole you guys need want to hone in on before we talk about like the future for Donkey Kong?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me that a 3D platformer would be over two very big story-driven games in my Game of the Year chart with Death Stranding 2 and Expedition 33, I would have called you crazy. But I mean, here we are. I love Donkey Kong Bonanza, and it stands as my current Game of the Year frontrunner.
Moon, anything?
I mean, yeah, very similar to Astrobot. It's just like when you make a good game, it's a good game, regardless of what the actual game is. Especially when it comes to something like a platformer, is usually not my forte. But when you actually put in the work, it actually does pay off. Of course, there's always some gripes with like, it's not going to be winning, best story or anything like that. And so games like a Expedition 33 or a um, even a Silent Hill could possibly top it in that regard. But I could easily see this be like in my top 5 of the year just from a gameplay point of view, even when I didn't 100% it. So I like, and I kind of hope that they are seeing this like love for this game be so renowned. Like I'm sure, like I do not remember any kind of this kind of splash, even though people seem to really like Tropical Freeze. I do not recall this kind of adoration for the game.
What happened with Tropical Freeze was that it was just at a time when that was not what people wanted for retro studios to do. They wanted retro to do either something new or another Metroid game, and it was like, oh, you guys are doing another Donkey Kong game, like another 2D one. So when it came out, people were not as high on it until later on when people were like, oh wait, this game actually slaps.
So I'm just curious to see like if this is with it getting such a high score, a lot of high praise. It makes me think, okay, well, obviously they're going to lean, and we did get confirmed that this is like a split off from the Mario 3D game. So this is like a new team that is now probably working on something else. I wouldn't be surprised now with all this adoration. Like we're probably going to be getting another 3D Donkey Kong here in a couple of years to continue off of this train.
Well, maybe not a couple of years because this team is very they take a while to make their games, but
yeah,
I definitely think they have a split team. I mean, we know that Koizumi, that guy you always see in the directs, who usually produces all the 3D Mario games, and then I think his name was Hayashida, who co-directed 3D World and produced Odyssey. They were not involved in this game at all, so it kind of tells me it's like, okay, they probably did split the team at one point, which this team has done before. They did that with Captain Toad. They did that with Bowser's Fury. So I'm not too surprised by that. I think we do see probably their next game in a few years. Maybe not even a few years. Like I could see even like 2027 for whatever the next 3D Mario is. And I'm excited to just see like, okay, what are the ideas you're going to build upon from Bananza, which I think this team has always done a good job of taking ideas from their previous titles and not saying, okay, let's do that again, but more so, okay, let's try something new, but take the ideas that we learned, the systems that we gained, and then like kind of repurpose those into creating like something new. And I think they're so strong at that. It makes me so much more excited.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited for is like this is such a good base of like what a good 3D like I don't even want to call this a 3D platformer because platforming is not really a thing.
Action platformer.
It's an action game. It's an open world action game.
It's Far Cry.
Now that is a open world mission game.
Yeah, no, it's not Far Cry. I would never compare a good game to Far Cry. Don't worry.
So yeah, it's weird to define it because platforming is it's weird to not call this a platformer.
There's definitely platforming is definitely a big part of it,
yeah,
but I don't know if it's
jumping from mountain range to mountain range in Far Cry is also platforming. So
I wouldn't call this a pure platformer. I guess.
Yeah, it's not a pure platformer. So it's weird to describe, but yeah, whatever this is, I will take this 100 times over Odyssey, and I know some people are going to be angry about me about that.
Yeah, I definitely like it more than Odyssey, but I also know that's unpopular. But I do hope this reignites the Donkey Kong IP. I hope we get quality spin-offs in between because I do think they'll make another Donkey Kong 3D platformer. And I do hope we get quality spin-offs, not just like the Mario game we got 2 years ago. That was really bad. I hope we get some quality spin-offs, whether that be a 2D platformer or something unique. I want the Donkey Kong IP to be reignited because I think what they have and created with Bananza is very good, and I'd hate to have to wait another 5+ years to get another taste of it.
Give me the Donkey Kong like stealth game.
Dude, a Donkey Kong stealth game or a Lanky Kong. Actually, just don't do anything with Lanky Kong. No, just forget about him. I think for me, I definitely still prefer Odyssey, but like I just like Mario. I like how Mario controls more in his games. I'm more of a fan of that style of gameplay, but I definitely prefer understand why people like Bonanza more and why it works more in that way. I think it's just in general I'm biased. And
Yeah.
I do still love this game though. I think this is up there for I mean it's easily my game of the year, but I look at like kind of the rest of this year and the rest of the games coming out and I'm like, yeah, I think this is gonna hold true even by the end of the year for me as my GOTY. It's just these are the type of games, the worlds that I like existing in way more. I'm so excited to see what this team is going to do next. I think they're the team that I trust the most with any video game IP. So, and the fact is, it's like I started out being like, no, I don't want them to do a 3D Donkey Kong game. Don't waste their time. To okay, let's see what more you can do with this IP. Now it's clear you guys understand what makes it special, and I do think we're probably going to get some spin-offs, and maybe other things like from other teams of like, okay, let's do a Donkey Kong RPG. Fuck it, let's just go crazy with it.
And what do you think Donkey Kong's new move set is in the Smash? Because I think it's just Pauline, and you can go Bonanzas and stuff. It'll be Donkey Kong and Pauline.
You are gonna his up B will be a chunk jump. That's my prediction. Outside of that, I don't know. Smash speculation is impossible now. I don't even know how to speculate for Smash anymore.
Yeah, because you gotta thankfully, I mean, this is a good thing though. Almost all the Mario characters should have like completely new movesets by the next Smash because they've all gotten new and interesting games that would completely change their moveset. Mario's got Cappy now. Peach has like all of her Showtime stuff. DK now has all his Bonanza stuff.
Oh my god, I forgot about
Luigi as Gooigi.
Dude, if Gooigi isn't part of the next moveset, I don't want it. I don't want the Smash game anymore. Last thing here. How do you guys think this game's gonna actually do? Like, you know, separated from us, but like just from the Game of the Year awards, Game Awards, like you think it's gonna get nominated and win a bunch of stuff, or is it competitive year?
It's a year where I just can't see Expedition 33 not winning most categories. Which I have certain feelings about, but it's still a very quality game and deserving of the awards it gets. But I just do think if Donkey Kong, it's just competitive now.
Yeah, it's just a tough year. I do think it has a chance of winning, but maybe not like the full like 100% ability. I do think probably Expedition wins the Keeleys and probably a good amount. But I wouldn't be surprised if like IGN or something or like one of the big websites decides to give Donkey Kong GOTY. Like I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
I think this is a competitive year.
Yeah, I mean, we still have. I mean, Death Stranding 2 will still be a lot of people's thing. What else is like one of the bigger ones?
And Ghost could hit.
Ghost could also be a lot of people's things.
Trails in the Sky first chapter looks good.
Yeah, okay.
Outer Worlds 2, maybe. I don't know. Like I said,
Metroid.
It's like
Silent Hill. Metroid could be a. Metroid is probably going to be the one thing that's going to give Donkey Kong a run for its money because I doubt people are going to nominate 2 Nintendo games. So it's going to be like one Nintendo game.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's happened before.
I mean, that's like maybe in like another year, but in a stacked year like this, maybe not.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, like, I don't think it's an either or. I think it's either both or just. I think Donkey Kong has a bigger chance of being nominated than Metroid.
Oh yeah. Granted, it also I don't know. This is not the place for that, but I have things against Metroid, but we'll see.
Racist, because she's a Chozo. Hating strong, independent woman. Well, I think that's it. Boys, I enjoyed this. A lot of fun. Great game. Very much recommend it. I think this kind of close off. I think this is the game that the Switch 2 definitely needed. I think this is a must-play title. If you're interested in Switch 2, I feel like you'd be insane not to grab this along with it. I like Mario Kart a lot, but it very much was, at the end of the day, Mario Kart. It's what it is. There's not much to think about it past that. Whereas I think this game is like, yeah, this is the reason you buy Switch 2.
Yeah,
I agree.
People are definitely right in the waiting for like, okay, here's the game that I'm going to buy the Switch 2 for, and they were rightfully so.
All right, boys. I think that's it. If you guys enjoyed this, please check us out on all the YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Twitter and Blue Sky, Slice of Gaming, and also give us a review, some comments, some likes. definitely helps us out a ton. But with that, I think that's all. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, Bananas.
Oh,
Banana. Jack's a hater.
Jack likes
Jack
the
is-
game. Jack likes
But he
it.
hates Pauline, so that means he's a hater.
Actually, yeah, he was on the last podcast. He likes Pauline now. He
Okay.
converted. We're good.